Welcome to part 2, everybody. Before I even get started, I just want to talk about the whole PlayStation, Sony consoles, all three of them, and the PSP if you want to count that, I guess. But as for, I've never owned one. I've never owned a PS1, PS2, or PS3. Why? Because I don't know. I was just never interested in the console. I mean, I played the PS1 at a friend's house, and it didn't impress me. I mean, I played the PS2, but all the games that I liked on the PS2 were also for the Xbox, so I don't feel as though I need to go into detail with that. And as for the Xbox and onward, I'm not going to talk about those consoles because anybody watching this video pretty much knows about them. The only reason why I went into detail about the older consoles is because some of the video gamers and YouTubers here would not know about them and their splendor, and I was just shedding some light on what, was back then, the bread and butter of the glory days. So, yeah. The last console I'm here to talk about here is the Sega Dreamcast. It just happened to work out where it would get its own part. I don't know how that happened, but whatever. But in any case, the Sega Dreamcast is, once again, my favorite console of all time for the simple reason that I don't know what it was. It was just like, it had the most fun appeal in games to me. And I'm not going to talk about Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 to start. I'm going to start off with Power Stone 1, Shenmue, and Jet Grind Radio. Shenmue was probably one of the better games out there during the whole era of the Sega Dreamcast. Talking about N64, Dreamcast, and all other consoles out at that time. Shenmue 2 just, had an interesting story. It kept you very entertained. Had some good gameplay, good graphics, everything flowed. It didn't feel as though at points where you're just walking around aimlessly like, what in the balls do I do? Except for at 2 parts, but that's just 2 parts. I mean, the game kind of had a consistent flow into where you were interested, not many boring points. I can't even remember a boring point in that game, other than the delivery people, but that's just different altogether. As for Power Stone, that was like a fighting game that was just revolutionary. I mean, it was kind of like an anime version of Brawl, well, any Smash Brothers game, but not with like Smash Brothers characters, but just, fighting in a 3D arena. It was pretty entertaining, and that's all I can really say. Can't really explain it. You're actually just gonna have to go out, watch a video, or buy a copy and play it for yourself. Don't worry, it's a great copy. But Power Stone 2, I'm not gonna lie, sucked balls. Don't get Power Stone 2. You will be highly upset if you were expecting awesomeness. So, yeah, don't even worry about that. The third game that I'm going to talk about is Jet Grind Radio. Jet Grind Radio I can go into detail with because it is, out of the 3 games I just mentioned, the other 2 are friend-owned. Jet Grind Radio is one of the games I owned. And Jet Grind Radio, it's about Tokyo and rollerblading teens on skates spraying graffiti in an attempt to save the world. And yes, the plot actually does make sense, so just because what I just said probably didn't make sense, the plot actually flows. And, the design's great, the controls are spot on, it's fun, it's interesting, and it's not repetitive, that's one thing I can say. Like, sure, some of the levels are similar, but they're different enough where you wouldn't notice it unless you played the game over and over and over, then began to put, 1 and 2 together. The next thing that was interesting about the game is that even after you unlocked all the characters and beaten the game completely, you could go back all the way to the beginning with all the characters and play through the story again, which was awesome for the simple reason that, replay value just went up like 30,000 million fold just for that decision that Sega made to even do that with that game, which I thought was awesome. And I've been waiting for a sequel for a very long time, and I did get one for the original Xbox, even though it wasn't really a sequel at heart. It was more of a remake, but I'm still hoping for a sequel to, those 2 games. In any case, now it's the one that a lot of people have been waiting for, the Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 thing. Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. These are probably the 2 most iconic games, not just for the Dreamcast, but for any game prior to any game system prior to the Xbox. Why? Because everybody knows about them. Pretty much everybody that I've known that plays them, even if they don't like Sonic, likes these games. Why? Because they were innovative, they were new, they brought Sonic to new heights. Because Sonic, before this, was just a 2D scrolling adventure. Then next thing you know, boom, he's 3D, still moving fast, still going everything. Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 also mark the last two good games for Sonic franchise. I mean, Sonic Unleashed was okay. I had issues with it, but, I wouldn't call it, up there with the Sonic Adventures. It didn't make the mark. It's good, but it's not great. It just didn't have that prestige. It just didn't have that feel as like, you were immersed into it and you were like into it the whole time. Because, when you do the Sunshine levels and freaking Unleashed, you're like, yeah! And then it's like a Werehog level, you're like, why do you do this? I mean, the Werehog levels weren't that bad, but, it's pretty much an E-rated God of War, but I'm not here to talk about Unleashed. If just go watch a review of Unleashed and you'll get the idea. But the thing I noticed about Sonic Adventure 1 was, it had a little hub world, and it was a really good hub world. It had lots of design, lots of artistry. Like, the design team actually took some, quality and some care and some careful planning time when they made the little places. Like, just doesn't look like one part's really good, then the rest of it is crap, and then the background just looks like doo-doo, and it's just terrible to look at. But, they actually put some time into it, and it looks good. All of them, A-Carrier, Mystic Ruins, and freaking Station Square all look good. But then again, on the other hand, Sonic Adventure 2 got rid of the hub world and kind of went back to its roots with the whole, just a little screen telling you coming up saying, this is the stage, this is the level name, go. That's pretty much how it went, like on the Genesis games back in the Genesis days, so that really, shed some light, people were like having a hallelujah moment when they saw that. Personally, I prefer Adventure 2 over 1. I mean, it's too close to really say, but I only like 2 for the simple reason that, well, I don't have to play as Big the Cat. Big the Cat was like my biggest gripe with the Sonic Adventure 1 game. I mean, fishing for Froggy! Oh, no. That's not my idea of fun. And then Amy's stages were like, that's stupid. Running away from a green robot and trying not to get captured. Yay. But, that's a small portion of the game, so it's not too much of a gripe with me. And what really made up for it was Gamma, because Gamma was, like, awesome in Sonic Adventure, so, yeah, that was just amazing. And unfortunately, we got like crappy versions of Gamma and Sonic Adventure 2, which was like, and they were enemies, so you had to kill them over and over. It's like, big poo-poo. But as for the bosses, I like the bosses in Sonic Adventure 2 better. I actually like the story for Sonic Adventure 2 better. I guess it was like more serious rather than Mr. Eggman is trying to take over the world again. I mean, it was that, but it was more than that at the same time. So, yeah. That's my little thoughts on the whole thing, and yeah, that's about it. Bonsai Bones here. Have a good day and even better tomorrow. And I hope you can join me again for another random talk.